Maybe it'll be about this next
the last one on our list here.
Yeah.
All right. So as I said, we were going to talk about David Montgomery, and here we go. So David Montgomery, he will continue to be the most fantasy relevant running back in Detroit. Jake, I'm going to let you start this conversation off.
I say this with a big caveat. I do
believe it.
However, I don't want people to mistake that for this constant trend that we've seen already maintaining the rest of the way. The gap, I think, gets squeezed a lot between now and the end of the season. I don't think that David Montgomery is going to continue this crazy workload of efficiency. And I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to start to see more and more snaps. In fact, the last game that they played together, we were already seeing Jahmyr Gibbs get a much bigger target share and more targets per route run and all the fun metrics that you like for PPR formats, which is what we're looking at here. It's what we always look at is PPR. David Montgomery is relying still pretty heavily on touchdowns. How long can they sustain that? Maybe the entire season, because maybe this offense is really just that good. And now that Jamaal Williams is in the fold and, they have more weapons, they'll just see more and more scoring opportunities. Or maybe we start to see Jahmyr Gibbs leak away at some of that because he's too good to be kept off the field for too long. I don't know. I think Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery from here until the end of the season are within 10 spots of each other. But what do you think?
I
believe it
as well. When you look at the Detroit Lions and what they did last year, they had DeAndre Swift, Jahmyr Gibbs. They had Jamaal Williams, David Montgomery. Jamaal Williams outscored DeAndre Swift last year. And granted, DeAndre Swift missed like 3 games or something like that, but still outscored him by like 30 points. I mean, it wasn't like it was like, 5 points or,
on the back of 17 touchdowns.
Oh, and how many does David Montgomery already have on the season?
But that's my point is, can that continue to that level? I guess.
I think it can. So he's already got 6 touchdowns on the season, 6 in 5 weeks. This offense has been electric. They were electric last year. They had Amon-Ra last year. Mm-hmm. They had Jameson Williams for only part of the year last year.
For like 2 games.
2 games, yeah. I know. But I'm just saying, like, a lot of the offensive pieces are the same. Yeah, Laporte is there. He's been an inspiration. They traded away Hawkinson midway point, through the year last year. But a lot of the pieces are still the same. Their offensive philosophy is still the same. You're seeing David Montgomery picking up right where Jamaal Williams left off. Why would they move away from that if it's worked for the last 1 1/3 seasons? I just don't see that happening. I think that David Montgomery will be the goal line back, and Jahmyr Gibbs, if he's going to score touchdowns, it's going to be breaking off a long run, or it's going to be a receiving touchdown, and that's how it's going to be. But Jahmyr Gibbs will get a lot of the receiving work, between the 20s, but inside the 20, it's going to be David Montgomery, and he will probably have 17 touchdowns at the end of the season.
Was interesting. The one stat I left off in week 4 when they were both on the field together, or the majority, Jahmyr Gibbs finally saw more short down and distance work. So that's where I start to think like, yeah, David Montgomery is a workhorse. In fact, I'm arguing against myself. All offseason, I was like, David Montgomery, they brought him in because he's a better workhorse than Jamaal Williams, so they want to give him the work. But it just feels like Jahmyr Gibbs, when you keep seeing it over and over, how good he is every time he gets the ball. So you guys can't ignore that either. And eventually, defenses have to start playing towards one guy more than the other guy. And maybe it opens up opportunities for